your oblique muscles. If you want distance, those are your turning muscles. Planking, Russian twists, all of that will help.
Well, hello, and welcome back to your virtual tea time. My name is Tori. Today we are continuing on with our distance series. If you're just tuning in with us, last Thursday we had Lou Stagner on the show to explain why gaining distance in your golf game is so important to improving your game, lowering your scores, and lowering your handicap index. He gets into the numbers and stats behind it all. It's fascinating. You know I'm a numbers gal, so I loved that episode. And then this past Monday, we had our resident golf fitness professional, none other than Andrew Hannon, on to discuss what it takes to actually gain speed in your golf swing on a fitness level. Like, what kind of commitment is it? What does it look like? What are you doing in the gym? How long does it take? A great episode, and it really made me realize what distance and speed training is all about. After all these years, it was like, oh, okay, wow, that's actually what it looks like. It was an interesting episode. He goes over 8 steps to gaining distance and speed. Again, that was this past Monday's episode. And then today we are joined with Lisa Longball, who is going to discuss the 3 major things she sees in women's golf swings that are preventing us from getting more distance. She's going to make us aware of those 3 things and then give us tips on how to improve them. Come on, it's Lisa Longball. You know you're going to love this episode. And then finally, just to give you a heads up, next Monday, we're going to wrap up the distance series with the Stick Mobility co-founder, and he's going to talk about mobility and why it is so important. So I am loving this 4-part distance series. This was formulated for my Breaking Bogeys group, which is a monthly coaching membership with Justin Klemballa. This is a group of women that meet every Wednesday for a live training, but there's a community in the background and a membership portal in the background that the women are communicating throughout the week. But this is for if you want to really improve your game and you just want another resource to do so, and you want another community of women that are trying to improve their game at the same time. And the best thing about the Breaking Bogeys group is that this group is all about improving your game without messing with your swing technique. Okay? It's hard enough thinking about doing swing technique tips virtually. Well, that's not even what we're focusing on. We're focusing on the mental game. We're focusing on what you're actually doing on course management. What do your stats look like during your rounds? We're showing you another way to shave strokes off of your game by not even dealing with your swing. I mean, sign me up for that, right? All right, but let's get into today's episode with Lisa Longball. I'm so honored that she again is going to join us, and she's going to be in Dallas this October at the Dallas Shootout. I cannot believe that's right around the corner from now. And she's also going to be with us for both Desert Classic weeks in March, which is in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, if you haven't signed up for the Desert Classic yet, I still have, as of Monday, I'm recording this on a Monday, I have a couple spots left in week 2. All right, week 1 is completely sold out, but week 2 does have a couple more spots to it. Lisa Longball, Kathy Hartwood, Erica Larkin, Justin Klemballa, they're all confirmed to be there to give you live clinics. I'm so excited that they're going to be a part of this event also in March. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode with Lisa Longball.
Next up on the number 1 tee.
Okay, so Lisa, a little background. We started this 3-part distance series with our Breaking Bogeys group. Week 1 was kind of all about numbers. We had Lou Stagner on, and he was giving us the why it's so important to gain distance, especially when you're trying to lower your scores, lower your handicap index. Just statistically, the players that gain distance have that much better chance of getting lower scores. And then week 2, we went into the gym. We had Andrew Hannon here. You probably met Andrew at the Desert Classic, and he went over what does it look like in the gym to start working on increasing your speed? What does it like, what the commitment looks like, everything that has to do with fitness. And then it only seemed right to have you on to finish us up, part 3, the finale, and we go over, the swing and how, again, we're all women here other than Justin. So what we can do to gain some distance and improve our game. It's all yours. The floor is yours. Lisa.
Okay, well, Tori, I love it. I love that you did it in 3 parts as well, too. And people say to me, oh, wow, Lisa, you hit your driver a long way. No, what I'm about to teach the ladies today is, ladies, when you gain more distance, yeah, great, you're going to hit longer drives. But not only will you hit longer drives, this technique will go to all areas, every club in your bag, meaning that when you're hitting your 8-iron, let's say you used to hit your 8-iron 100 yards before, now you could be hitting it 110, 120. So you're coming into greens with shorter clubs. And I'm sure what Lou talked about is when you come into greens with shorter clubs, it's easier to stick the greens, hold the greens, and then thus your scores are going to drop. So what this isn't, even though I'm a long drive specialist, I'm actually a distance specialist. So everything I'm teaching you can be applied to every single club in your bag, except putter. So, ladies, there are 3 big things, 3 reasons why women tend to not hit it as far as their male counterparts. I would say that in my experience, 80% of women struggle hitting it over 200 yards. I personally believe most women, again, depending as we age, we lose a little bit of flexibility or if we've had injuries. But I truly believe that 200 mark, I believe that with the right technique, most of us could really get close to that, if not blowing by it. So what I'm going to teach today will help you do that, will help you add distance to every club in your bag. Now, why do we lose distance? There's 3 reasons, as I mentioned. Reason number 1, women tend to be arms lifters. What do I mean by that? If you took a picture at the top of the backswing, you would be like, oh, Lisa, wow, look at that backswing. What a great turn. When in fact, I haven't turned one bit. All I did was lift my arms, and then all I can do is drop them. And the problem with that is women, we tend to be more flexible than our male counterparts. So for instance, I can get to the top of that backswing, no problem. My husband, who isn't as flexible, would struggle getting to that position. So would know that they hadn't turned. So since you get to that position, you think you've made this great turn, when in fact, all you've done is lifted your arms, and then all you can do is drop them. And if you're sitting there watching your screen today going, am I an arms lifter? Do you hit many clubs the same distance? Do you hit your 8-iron as far as your 7-iron, as far as your 6-iron? If you hit a lot of clubs the same distance, you're probably an arms lifter. Okay, so that's number 1. So let's talk about how do we stop the first issue in what's hurting our distance. So to stop being an arms lifter, you need to make sure you turn. All right. So how do we turn? So I want you to think of breaking your body into 2 parts. This is the upper half of the body. This is the lower half of the body. In your backswing, you need to turn the upper part of your body. It has to be a physical turn. Your chest needs to turn away from the target, or from the ball, should I say. And it will be absolutely opposite from where your target is. It has to create that turn. If you're just doing a lift, again, 0 power, 0 coil, 0 torque, 0 distance. So number 1, how do we turn? My favorite swing thought, I love to think, instead of starting my backswing with my hands or my arms, I like to start my backswing with my lead shoulder. So for my right-handed golfers, that's your left shoulder. And for my lefties, it's your right shoulder. So the shoulder closest to the target or towards the fairway. So when you're making your turn, I'll do it this way, actually. When you're making your turn, your first move in your backswing, if it's your lead shoulder, it forces you to turn. As you can see, if my lead shoulder starts my backswing, it forces me to turn. And then how do you know you turned? Your girls need to be facing behind you. So a big mistake that people, a way you can check if you're an arms lifter, when you get to the top of the backswing, when you get to the top of your backswing, do your girls still face the ball? If your girls are still facing the ball, you haven't turned. You need to make sure to make that turn. So that's one little pick or check. So how do we stop being an arms lifter? You need to start your backswing with your lead shoulder. And I promise you, you will turn. All right. So that's point number 1 that absolutely kills our distance. Now, point number 2, this is going to take a lot longer here. Point number 2 is swing sequence. So what do I mean by that? Where a lot of women and men tend to lose distance is even if you've made this incredible turn, which allows you to create coil and torque, that's what allows you to create distance. So if you made an incredible backswing, but if you start your downswing with your upper body, so if your first move in your downswing is your back shoulder or your torso, you lost all that coil and distance that you've built up. So in a proper swing, so if I start, again, if this is the top half of my body and this is the lower half, if I start my backswing with my lead shoulder, boom, now I've created coil and torque. My chest is facing behind me, opposite of the target. Perfect. Now, if I start my downswing with my lower body, when I would get to the ball, as you can see, I'm coiled and I'm torqued. My shoulders are facing directly ahead of me, facing the ball, but my hips have already cleared through impact. That's where the power comes. Now, let's say you've made this great backswing where you start with that lead shoulder. If you start your downswing with your upper body and you get to your ball, then you see that my shoulders are facing the ball, my hips are facing the ball. Again, zero coil, zero torque. So you've actually ruined that amazing turn that you've just made if you start your downswing with your upper body versus your lower body. So how do we want to think about it? So again, for that distance, I want you to think in your backswing, you need to turn that upper body. So that's step one. Step two, leave the upper body there. So I like to think of it as a fun little saying called turn the shirt, turn the skirt, or turn the shirt, turn the pants, whatever works for you. So in turn the shirt, turn the skirt, what I want you to do, step number one, start that backswing with the lead shoulder, which will have you turn that shirt. So lead shoulder starts the backswing. Turn the shirt, leave it, which means let it stay there. And your first move in your downswing needs to be your lead pocket, your lead hip, your belt buckle. My favorite one, your guts. I love to think of starting my downswing with my guts, not with my upper body or with my arms. Now, ladies, it's really important that you know that that's going to be a coil, a torque, a turn. It's a turn. Watch this. Again, turn the upper body, leave it, turn the shirt, leave it. And then the first move in the downswing is that lower body. And again, it's a turn, not a slide. Not a slide. A slide is a power leak. You have to make sure that it's a turn. So it's turn the shirt in the backswing, turn the pants or turn the skirt in the downswing. So turn the shirt, leave it. It's attached. I promise it'll come with you. And first move in the downswing is turn the lead hip, turn the lead pocket, turn the belt buckle. So I've had a lot of women say to me, okay, Lisa, I get it. It makes sense. But how do I do that move? I'm struggling with that move. Well, let me teach you some drills that will help you with that move. So another word for that move of turn the shirt, turn the skirt is dissociation. So what is dissociation? Dissociation is when you dissociate, so you start the upper part of your body, you've turned it, now you have to leave it, now you're going to activate a different part of your body. So dissociation means the two are working independently of each other. One turns, stops, then the next one. They're not moving together as one piece. So what are some drills for dissociation? And this will help you with that turn the shirt, turn the skirt. So you can do this with me right now as you're sitting in your office or wherever your computer is or your phone is. Prop the phone up if you have that or your computer screen. Stand up, or you can even do it in your chair if you want to start. I want you to take your arms and cross them across your shoulders. Then what you're going to do, leave the lower body. Your lower body is still. Those hips, I want you to pretend there's two rods coming out of your hips, not allowing your hips to turn. They cannot turn one bit. Okay, so hips are stable, zero turning. Are you ready? I want you to turn the shirt, but keep those hips dead straight, and then come back to neutral. Turn the other way. Don't move those hips. Don't move those hips. Come back to neutral. Do it again. Turn the shirt. Don't move those hips. Come back to neutral and turn the shirt and come back to neutral. So that's the dissociation where the lower body doesn't move at all, but you're dissociating. You're separately moving the upper body. Now, let's try the lower body. For this one, you'll have to stand up. So this time you're going to stand up. You're going to cross your hands over your chest again, so it makes a little X bob, and you're touching your shoulders with your hands. This time you have two rods coming out of your shoulders. That means your shoulders cannot move at all. They have to stay dead straight. Are you ready? Shoulders are going to stay straight. This time hips are going to move, okay? So this time I want you to think of turning your lead hip. So turn, but keep those shoulders dead straight. Turn the skirt back to neutral. Do not move those shoulders. Turn the skirt. Do not move those shoulders back to neutral. Let's do it again. Turn the shirt, or skirt, should I say? Do not move that shirt back to neutral. And last one, don't move those shoulders. Don't move that shirt. Turn the skirt back to neutral. Okay, so now that you've had a sense of how to do it there, let's try it in golf posture. So this time, again, you'll have to be standing. We're going to go into golf posture. Again, I like it if you cross your arms over your chest again. So let's try it in your normal backswing. So think about starting your backswing with your lead shoulder. So again, right-handed golfers, that's your left shoulder. Lefties, it's your right. So turn the shirt, leave it, turn the skirt. Okay, back to neutral. Let's try it again. Turn the shirt, leave it, turn the skirt. Okay, back to neutral. And last time, turn the shirt, leave it, turn the skirt. Now you're starting to get an idea of what dissociation is. And this is the power move. This is the move that is going to help you add 20, 30 plus yards to your drives if you get it and if you're not currently doing this. It's going to be a game changer. Now, one more part about the dissociation for extra power and speed. So at my in the 2016 World Long Drive Championships, I came second in the world. I lost the world title by 3 yards to 5-time world champion Sandra Karlberg. The Swedes. She's an awesome golfer. Awesome player. So when I watched the footage with my coach, who's a PGA of Canada instructor, Paul Horton, when I watched my video, as I noticed, when I got to the top of my backswing, I did a great job. I turned the shirt, I left it, but you know what I did? I let weight sneak to the outside of my back foot. Right there, power leak. And I lost the extra few yards that probably could have made a difference to trying to help me win a world title. So again, this is also going to help you with the dissociation. Why? It gives you something to push off of. So if you let any weight sneak to the outside of your back foot, power leak, killer. So here's what I want you to think of in terms of your swing. So again, we're going to start the backswing with the lead shoulder. So again, whatever that lead shoulder is, that starts your backswing. So you turn the shirt. Now, when you turn the shirt, I actually want you to feel pressure on the instep of the back foot. Feel it. I want you to almost kind of bounce in there. So you're going to turn the shirt, kind of bounce into that instep of the back foot. Then leave the shirt, and now you can actually push off the instep of that back foot. If you have power, if you have weight onto the instep of that back foot, now you have something to push off of. So all of my students who are struggling with the idea of turn the shirt, turn the skirt, they said this has been a difference maker, because all of a sudden when they could start to think, okay, let's practice the dissociation drill first. Now, after I turn my shirt, I need to feel my weight loading into the instep of my back foot. Now, that's what I'm going to push off of. You're not going to start the downswing with that back shoulder or your torso, which is the distance killer. Instead, it's turn the shirt, leave it, push off that back instep, which will help you turn the guts, turn the lead hip, turn the belt buckle, turn that pocket, whatever it is that makes you turn. So this has been a huge difference maker for distance. So this is something that you can practice in your backyard. You can practice it in your basement. You don't need to go to the driving range. Look at yourself in a full-length mirror. Watch yourself in a bathroom mirror even, just to make sure those hips aren't moving when your upper body is, and that your skirt isn't moving, or sorry, that your shirt isn't moving when your skirt is. So watch that and practice feeling that weight onto the instep of the back foot. You can even take a door stopper. You know, one of those door stoppers that kind of is a bit of a triangle? You can almost use like that as a wedge on your back foot to kind of feel that idea of getting pressure onto the instep of the back foot. And then again, we're pushing off of that. Okay. So I told you there's 3 things that create problems for women in terms of gaining distance. And actually, this is also very beneficial to any of the guys out there who are watching this as well. So the number 1, as I said, is arms lifting. Okay, so that's the number 1 killer. We learned how to fix that is by starting the backswing with the lead shoulder, not the hands, not the arms. The second distance killer is sequencing of the golf swing, meaning that you have to do a turn the shirt, leave it, turn the skirt. Because if you go turn the shirt, now my hips are facing the ball, my shoulders are facing the ball, there's no power, there's no coil, there's no torque. So it's a turn the shirt, turn the skirt movement. To get better at that movement, practice your dissociation drills, and also practice getting that weight onto the instep of the back foot to initiate your downswing by pushing off that instep of the back foot, which will create the turn the skirt movement. Okay. Now, the third and final issue, which this is a big humdinger. This is a big one. If you really want to gain distance, if you want to hit those big long drives and hit those irons, hybrids, and fairways longer, and that is finish your golf swing, finish your golf swing, finish your golf swing. What do I mean by finish your golf swing? I think a lot of golfers have been taught, or their whole swing thought idea is they want to hit it harder, hit the ball, smash the ball. And the second they're done hitting the ball, they begin to decelerate. The second you start decelerating, you're starting to lose distance. So if I ask so many golfers, where do you think the club head should be moving fastest in your golf swing? Do you know how many golfers say to me, oh, at the ball, that's where it should be moving fastest? No, your club head should be moving fastest 3 feet past the ball, through the ball. So here's a great swing thought to stop you from hitting the ball and starting to decelerate. Your great swing thought is hit through the ball, not to the ball. Hit through the ball, not to the ball. So what do I mean by that? So again, when I watch a lot of golfers who have a great swing, they've got a great turn the shirt, they've got a great turn the skirt, they're coming through, and then the second they hit the ball, they start to decelerate. And then how do you know? How do you know if you're a person who does this? Here's the telltale signs that you are not finishing your golf swing. Number one, in your finish position, your hands are above, just by your face, maybe just above your face or just above your head. If your hands stop here, you are not finishing your golf swing. What is another telltale sign that you're not finishing your golf swing? At the end of your golf swing, I should see the entire back sole of your back shoe. For most golfers, when I watch them and they make a swing, all I can see is a little bit of their heel coming off the ground. Some golfers are even flat-footed. Now, can you hit a straight golf shot hitting it flat-footed? You sure can, but you're losing tons of distance. So if you want that distance, you've got to swing through the ball. So what positions are you aiming to get to know that you've swung through the ball? Position number one, I need to see all of the weight on the front side. 100% of your weight should be on your lead side. In your swing, after you've hit the golf ball, you should be able to pick up your back foot. There should be zero weight on that back foot. That's number one on how I know that you've done it. Number two, you need to try to get this shaft of the golf club, any club that you're using for a full swing, and you need to try to get it to touch your back, not up by over your head, not up by your face. Get it to touch your back. Do me a favor. Google the LPGA Tour logo. The logo of the LPGA Tour is a silhouette of a woman who's got that club right on her back. Why? Because that's a distance move, okay? So what I want you to do, practice this again, something you can do in your backyard, make a swing and get that club all the way to your back. I want you to practice getting that club all the way to your back, okay? So that's one way that you know you've finished. And the second way, I need you to practice swinging all the way through until the toe of your back, the back of your back shoe. So your back shoe, the back shoe, whatever. So my left-handed golfer, that's your right shoe. And for my right-handed golfers, it's your left shoe. At the end of your golf swing, I should see the entire back sole of your shoe, not just your heel, definitely not flat, the whole sole. So basically, at the end of your golf game, at the end of 9 holes or 18 holes, you should have a dirty mark on the toe of your back shoe. Why? Because you finished your golf swing and all that weight is on the front side and that toe has finished all the way over. I call it dirty toe. So the two positions that you want to get to know that you've swung through the ball, keep swinging through the ball. I like to think keep swinging until the club hits the back. Do not stop swinging at the ball. Swing through the ball till that club hits the back. So you're checking to see if your club is getting to your back. So the shaft of the club is getting to your back. And if your entire back sole of your golf shoe is visible. Now, how will you know this? You know what? Cell phones. Almost everyone has a great cell phone out there and has a cell phone camera with it. Take your cell phone, put it on camera mode, put it on selfie mode so you can just switch the image of the camera so it can see you. Just prop it up against a chair or prop it up against your bag or in your bag so that it's facing you at the driving range or in your backyard. Or heck, if you have a partner or a friend that you're out there playing with, have them do it with you at the range or again in your backyard. And when you make that golf swing, check where is the shaft of the golf club and can I see the entire back sole of my back shoe? And if the answers are yes, boom, you finished your golf swing. So swing through the ball, not to the ball. So Tori, those are the 3 biggest things that I can share with ladies and gentlemen actually as to how to add distance to every single club in their bag. And I'm telling you, if you do those 3 things, I promise you, you're going to gain key distance.
Lisa, thank you. I love that presentation. The dissociation, I wanted to add about, we had Andrew on last week. Those are the kinds of exercises you're going to be working on in the gym. And, so when you find
Russian, I don't know if we're allowed to call them that anymore, but Russian twists. That's what they used to call them. I don't know if we can say that anymore. But that's it. Again, you can do it with just your arms or the big can of tomatoes or a med ball if you have it in the gym. That's the exact idea of the and working those oblique. I'm sure that Andrew talked about your oblique muscles. If you want distance, those are your turning muscles. Planking, Russian twists, all of that will help. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in because that was a great
that's
point.
okay. But I just want to have everyone visualize that. Like you're going to be working on those kinds of things. You're also going to be working on loading up in your backswing, and then you're going to be working on finishing your swing in the gym too. He's going to have you doing all different sorts of exercises where you're going to be like, wow, this is just like a golf swing, but he's using all these tools in the gym. So
yeah, anytime you can mimic your swing in the gym, it's called creating muscle memory. So it's again, when you're doing it with load or what we call weight, then it seems effortless when you do it without the weight.
I'm curious to your training. How long has it been since you've been in the World Drive?
Oh, well, you know what? So I was actually, I had a rotator cuff injury. And so I missed I've been competing in every single World Long Drive Championships from 2001 to 2018. In 2018, I sustained a rotator cuff injury. So that was the first World Championship I'd ever missed. So I was super sad. So I came back in 2019, had an okay finish, but was still rehabilitating. And then Tori, I was hitting it better than I ever have. 2020. And actually the World Long Drive Championships was moving from Thackerville, Oklahoma to Cog Hill in Chicago. It was super exciting. And then this thing called the pandemic hit. So as a Canadian, that made it very difficult for international travel.
Yeah.
And so for 2020, 2021, and then this past year in 2022, I was going to attend the World Long Drive Championships, and they actually moved it to Japan. And at the time, there was a 2-week quarantine period. So again, and then 2023, my rotator cuff has been bothering me again. So I'm back training. I've avoided surgery so far. And so I'm hoping, I'm not going to go to the World Championships this year, but I'm hoping to be back in 2024.
Let me ask you a question. Is one of your goals this summer to break 100 or break 90? If so, this message is for you. Breaking those score barriers can be an exciting goal, but can also lead to frustration when you have come so close to doing it before and just can't break through. Or how about this? You've broken 100 or 90 before, but you haven't been able to do it again in a long time. I get it. I've been there before with my own score barriers and goals. It wasn't until I refocused the way I practiced and actually learned the importance around course management and strategy where my game went to the next level. And here's the best part. I didn't have to change my swing to do it. And because of that, I have partnered with teaching professional Justin Klemballa to bring you the Breaking Bogeys membership. Justin and I designed this coaching membership specifically for golfers who want to break 100 or break 90 this upcoming season. Each week we will have live trainings with an opportunity for Q&A, weekly homework and accountability, additional technique and drill videos exclusive for this group, and last but not least, a community where you will be joining other golfers with the same exact goal. So whether you want to break 90 or break 100, you will be able to go on this journey together and support and cheer each other on throughout. Now, while we're working towards these score barrier goals, my bet is that while you're focusing on your game with this membership, some of your best play will happen during competitions, tournaments, and guest days this summer. But that's just a bonus. So come join us as we tackle these golf goals, because this summer is when we are going to take your game to the next level. For more information and to register, visit breakingbogeys.com. That's breakingbogeys.com for all the information you'll need to sign up.
Okay, well, give us a little behind the scenes of what your training schedule looks like. Now, again, you are training for World Long Drive, so that's not going to look exactly like us, but I'm just curious.
Oh, absolutely. So number one is you got to put the time in. You got to create muscle memory. So that's hitting balls. So typically I'd hit 2 large baskets of balls with just driver. Now you might think, well, that doesn't sound that much. Well, it is, because with your driver, you're swinging at 120%. And especially training for World Long Drive Championships, you're swinging out of your shoes. So when I play full golf or regular golf, I'm kind of swinging at about 85%. Why? Because I need to hit fairways. Whereas in the World Long Drive Championships, we get 6 balls. So I can hit 1 or 2 out of bounds. That's okay. I got a couple mulligans. It's not the same in full golf, right? But I find that after 2 baskets, Tori, I start to get tired. And that's a caution I give to all of your viewers as well, is that if you're tired at the range, stop. Either take a break, take some water, but if you're still feeling fatigued, don't keep practicing. Why? Because you're going to ingrain poor muscle memory. So that's why for me, so that would be one thing. 5 to 6 days a week, I'd be hitting 2 large baskets of balls of driver only. In terms of in the gym. So then I was training anywhere from 4 to 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week on a few things. Number one, flexibility. So the reason that I'm 5'6" 3/4, and I can hit the length of 3.5 NFL football fields. Why? Because of the ability to create coil and torque. So it's rotational flexibility. So yoga. I would be doing yoga at least 3 times a week. And again, for that flexibility. So ladies, if you're looking to try to gain that extra distance, I would highly recommend yoga for you. And it will absolutely, and then the stretching. That's something that a lot of athletes or in terms of our amateur golfers forget to do, the stretching. The more you stretch, you're going to prevent injuries, but it actually allows you for your muscles to be more pliable, more flexible, to get you into better positions. So I do a lot of training that way. And then I would be doing weights, a combination of weights and plyometrics 4 to 5 days a week. So plyometrics is more jump training. So just, again, more bounding, quick, fast muscle movements. So anything to do with plyometrics would help there. And then weightlifting, but not like crazy heavy weights. It would be more, a little bit lower weights, higher repetitions, sometimes loading at heavier times. But the areas I would focus on, like I get asked, Tori, oh my goodness, if I had $1 for every time someone said, oh, Lisa, check out your pipes, 2 tickets to the gun show, right? Oh my goodness. Ladies, I could bench press 300 pounds, 300 times a day. And guess what? I'm not going to hit this golf ball 1 yard longer. Why? It has nothing to do with your arms. So if you're in the gym, you want to be training the right muscles, which I'm sure you learned with Andrew last week. And for me, the muscles that I want to train, oblique muscles, core, glutes, hamstrings, quads. Why? This, ladies, this is what's going to lead to distance, not doing all the curls and bench press. And I'm not saying to not do those, but if you're looking for distance, the key, that's what I was working on when I was training and trying to be at my peak performance at the World Long Drive Championships. It's your power source. Check out the size of your legs or the strength of your legs versus the size of your arms. Night and day difference.
Absolutely.
So that new move of the turn the shirt, leave it, get that weight into that instep, turn the skirt. Now you're using the big muscles in your body. That's why you're going to hit it longer as well.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell us the story of your longest drive in competition? Like how long was it? And then like what was it your first ball? Was it your 6th ball? What was it?
Great question. So I was competing at the time it was called the Long Drivers of America. So it was before Golf Channel had purchased the rights to the World Long Drive Championships. And it was called Long Drivers of America. That was our tour. And again, athletes came from all over the world to compete on this tour that was in the United States. And I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I remember, struggling when I first came on tour because being a professional golfer isn't like being a professional athlete, basketball, baseball, football. In those sports, you get paid whether you ride pine, whether you lose every game. Well, in golf, you're only getting paid if first of all, you're out all of your travel expenses, and then you're only getting paid if you're coming in the top X number of spots. And in long drive, that's a lot smaller than it is on the LPGA Tour and PGA Tour. So I'll never forget. It was my 3rd year on tour. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we were at Balloon Fiesta Park for any of our Mexicans that are out there watching. And it was this perfectly flat grid. It was beautiful. And it was my 3rd ball. And I hit this ball, Tori, and it felt effortless. It felt like butter. Like it felt so smooth, so pure, like I didn't even hit it. And when they called back 350 yards, 2 feet, 2 inches, and I was the first woman to ever hit over 3.5 NFL football fields, it was just unbelievable. And then of course it's swing for the fences at that point. Then it's wild swings. And, I was like, woo, but it felt magical. It felt magical.
If anyone else, I'm like visualizing a hole at my home course that's 350 yards and just like wishing I could just hit a drive all the way to the green. And then I don't have to do all that work in the middle.
Right. Well, and that's why I was actually just at a charity golf tournament for the Boys and Girls Club in Prince Edward Island. They wanted all the women to play from the forward tees. And some of the other groups had like NHL players, MLB players, and so on and so forth. And so one group got me. And so they said, the tournament said, you know what, since you're not the MLB player and all the rest of that, Lisa, why don't you play from the forward tees? Well, I was driving par 4s, 320-yard par 4s at sea level. And again, when you're putting for eagle, it makes a big difference to the score, especially in a scramble.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Lori had a question. Any adjectives on a plant? Wait, does that mean adjectives, Lori? Can you read that question? Wait. Any
adjustments
Any
at all?
adjustments? Oh my
Sorry.
God. Why did I think it was adjectives? Any adjustments on applying these techniques on the tee box versus the fairway?
Yeah, no. So different club. However, there's a couple things for driver. Hold tight. So for everything is the exact same for driver, except for this. Driver is your longest club in the bag, which means slow, patient backswing. Now, I would like to see a slow, patient backswing with all of your clubs. And the reason why, if you rush your backswing, remember what leads to distance? The ability to create coil and torque. So if you can, I'll switch to my iron just for a second here. If you can turn here, can you go 1 inch further? Can you go 1 inch further? Every single inch you can turn leads to more coil, more torque, more distance. So what happens is with the longer club, so again, driver versus iron, a tendency is actually to swing too quickly. And no, this is your longest club in the bag. So you want to actually be as slow and patient as possible. So I do recommend a slow, patient backswing in all of your clubs. Now, I want you to think, I love speed, never in your backswing. Speed only starts on the downswing and all the way through. But again, be very cognizant in the driver, even slower. So I actually like to use, now I know he's an old school golfer, but he's still one of my favorites, Ernie Els, the sweet swinging South African golfer. I actually use his name when I'm using driver on when I'm teeing it up on the tee box. So I use his name for my tempo. So I like to think 2 beats in the backswing, 1 in the downswing. 2 beats in the backswing, 1 in the downswing. So when I swing, I actually think Ernie Els. Now, my driver, I don't want to hit anything here, so I'll use my iron when I do it. I'll use my iron to show you. But when I swing, this is how I think of it. Ernie Els. So again, that power comes through the ball and after it, but slow, patient backswing, let it load up. Now, another point for adding distance for driver, and this is what a lot of people do incorrectly, I need to see at least half the ball over the back of your driver. If I cannot see when you're teeing it up, and if I can't see, this is just for driver, not fairway woods and hybrids, but if I can't see half the ball over the back of your driver, good luck getting in the air. Driver is, in fact, the only club you want to hit on the upswing. Everything else, irons, hybrids, and fairways even, you actually want to hit down on, trap, compress the ball. Not true for driver. Driver is the only club you want to hit up on. So again, I need to see half the ball. If I can barely see any of the ball over the back of your club head, good luck getting it up in the air. Now, be very careful. I don't want to see the whole ball over the back of your driver because, again, if you do a great job brushing the grass, that ball is going to go straight up and you're going to put a scuff mark on your driver, also referred to as an idiot mark. Not cool, not cool. So that's one tip. For the other one, and this is huge, so great question, is ball position. So ball position for driver. Again, there's many different ways to do ball positions for irons, hybrids, and fairway woods. Every single pro on the planet will tell you there is only one ball position for driver. And what is that ball position? Off the instep of your lead foot. So for my right-handed golfers, that's your left foot, and for my lefties, it's your right foot. So when I say the instep, that means when you're teeing it up, I need to see that ball right off the instep of that lead foot. Now, here's a great little drill to make sure. And if you go ask a pro, if you say, what's the difference if I have the ball kind of in the middle of my stance versus the front of the stance? Most pros will tell you it could be a 30 to 50 yard difference just on ball position with driver. So here's a little tip to make sure your ball position is awesome so that when you're doing the turn the shirt, turn the skirt, you're getting the maximum value. And that is this. Anytime I set up to driver, anytime I'm on the tee box, I start feet together. I eyeball the ball in the middle of my feet, and then I simply move my back foot. Then I know that the ball is off the instep of my front foot, and I promise you're going to hit it better and farther every time.
I have a couple of questions for you. I love everything that you're saying here, and I was even up doing all your exercises with you and disparate, showing my ladies left and right, So, but I have quite a few questions for you. One, have you been on force plates before? Have you ever done on swing catalyst or anything like that? And
yes,
if so, are you spiking more in vertical torque or horizontal? Which one is the one that you spike in the most?
So I'm a bit of a weirdo. If you look at my data on the force plates. So I'm a former gymnast. So I'm a 40-something-year-old mom that is still competing at a world-class level. And how does that happen? And I believe it's my background as a gymnast. So in in terms of, it's explosive speed, power, balance, all of those things are transferable. But for me, when I was trying to gain power, like when I was doing backflips, everything always moved up for me. So actually, if you ever watch my swing in slow-mo, you'll notice that I actually get up on my toes. At the top of as I come through impact, should I say. So golfers that do that, Bubba Watson, Lexi Thompson, old school Laura Davies. So it's not something I teach, but if someone naturally does it, I actually jump. So I'm using ground forces so much that I actually jump at the ball. Now, again, I do not recommend it. It has to be natural to your swing, but that's what my force plates would show.
You create the most amount of your power through vertical force.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's probably one thing that I see mostly with juniors and ladies more than anything is the jumping force. But you're right. It's not something that should be really thought about. But
no.
But a lot of times ladies and juniors are coached out of it because it looks weird. But it's something that we should absolutely be not discouraging, but encouraging 100%.
Or if it's natural, let it go. It's using ground forces. It's awesome, right?
Yes. Another question on since you're as such a high competitor, we've had a couple of discussions in this group about mental approach. Do you have a mental approach to competition to ramp yourself up to get ready for high competition? Because whether you're competing for a long drive competition or even some of our ladies going to just the weekly 9-holers, we're still dealing with that same anxiety, right? So is there anything that you do to deal with that anxiety?
Yes, two things. Number one, I try to mimic the situation. So for instance, I try to mimic the first, like for our golfers out there, whether it be, as you said, a 9-hole ladies league or maybe a club championships. So I practice what it would be like. I envision what it's like to step on the first tee, who is around me, what am I looking at? I visualize that and I go through my whole pre-shot routine. For me, a pre-shot routine is absolutely vital in terms of that mental strength and mental performance. Because when you have a pre-shot routine, you start worrying about Betty Sue in the corner. You start worrying about noise that you heard in the background because you're doing the exact same thing every time you set up to the ball. So for me, when I was when I'd be training to get ready for the World Long Drive Championships, I would time myself. I'd have 2 minutes and 45 seconds, which is what we would get. 6 balls. I'd practice going through. I'd pretend hearing the crowd roar. I'd pretend, hearing something. I'd try to visualize the camera in my face. All of this as you're getting ready to go. So I think visualization is a huge part. But another big tip that is very, very simple, breathing. And I know that sounds silly, but holy cow, I cannot tell you how many World Long Drive Championships where I was able to bear down on my 6th ball, even having hit 5 out of bounds, and I need to get the 6th one in play. So what I recommend for every single golfer, any single swing I do, the very last thing I do before I make my takeaway, so starting my backswing with my lead shoulder, the very last thing I do is a deep breath out. So for all of our viewers who are sitting there, so right now, as you're sitting there, everyone just take a deep breath out. Can you feel your shoulders drop? You can feel the tension in your forearms drop. So to me, that is something so simple that if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling rushed, and you've got someone who's being a jerk to you in the foursome and you're worried about it, deep breath out right before your backswing. And I'm telling you, that makes a world of difference.
Another just curiosity question. What's the highest your swing speed has ever been? And is that currently your swing speed today?
So my highest swing speed was 126 miles an hour. So I was thrilled about that. And my last few sessions that I was looking at on my launch monitor, I was just getting into the 120s again. So with my rotator cuff, my one issue is I can't put the same reps in right now with my rotator cuff injury that I normally would. But in a way, I almost feel like it's made me a little bit stronger because I've now focused more time in the gym, stretching, and yoga. And I think that's helped me with some of that speed. And then also, you can be doing that with the speed training where you're doing weighted clubs, that to me, and then swinging your own club and how it feels light as a feather. So I know I need to get into that mid to upper 120s again to be competitive and to try to win that world title.
And just for some comparison for the lady listeners that are listening right now, at least according to TrackMan, LPGA average clubhead speed, LPGA is 94 miles an hour. And for PGA Tour, it's 113 miles an hour. And here Lisa is in the mid 120s. That's insane how fast that is. That's so cool.
It's
That's
fun.
amazing.
I have to say, it sure helps on par fives.
One last question here, and then I'll give it back to Tori. Angle of attack. By the way, just one quick side note. Paul Horton is the person who showed me aim point green reading back in 2012. This is 11 years ago. Yeah, he came out to Sunridge Canyon, which is where I was at the time in Fountain Hills, and he did an aim point clinic for me and a couple of the other assistants. What a fantastic coach! What a tremendously nice guy, and that's so cool. Well, yeah, I don't know if he'll remember me, but I remember him very, very well, and I still credit him to this day for being the first person to show me aim point, which is a fantastic green reading skill to get. But my question is when you've worked with him, do you work at all on angle of attack when it comes to your driver, and do you have any tips for our ladies on how? You already did with the ball position,
the ball on the upswing,
but any other tips when it comes to getting the angle of attack up?
Yeah, absolutely. So angle of attack, for our viewers who aren't as familiar with it, if you have a downward striking blow into your ball, it is a distance killer for driver. And so that's why you're trying to have that upward angle of attack. For me, I'm more focused on my launch angle. So as it's coming out, that's more the number, because it's, for my angle of attack, for me, it's quite consistent, and it's not something that I work on per se, but I'm always looking at my launch angle, that I don't want to be in that 13, 14 degree range, because then I'm losing tons of distance because it's going too high. So I'm kind of looking to be in that 11, 12 degree range. And then spin rate, when you're getting kind of over that 23, 2400, that's a big killer. So that's where I find for any ladies who are really looking at improving their game, and you're at that level of golf, start going to a launch monitor and go with a PGA of America or PGA of Canada Pro, whoever your professional is, to help explain those numbers to you, because getting your spin rates down, which again, it can just be technique, ball position, getting your angle of attack and your launch angles to the optimal height for you. So that's what it has to look at. So as a long driver, yeah, I'm trying to find that optimal height of where's my launch angle, but that my spin rate isn't too high. And for me, so I try to hit I'm always using a low spin driver as much as I can, because I tend to, because of my jumping movement, I tend to create a lot of spin on my ball. So for me, that's something, and I usually use somewhere between a 6-7 degree driver. And again, most women, you want to look at using kind of a 12 degree driver. Loft is your friend, but I already create a lot of loft, and then the faster your clubhead speed, the higher you launch the ball. So these are all factors when you're looking in on that.
Should everyone have their driver loft set at standard, or as a beginner, can you change the loft for benefit?
That is a great question. I cannot tell you the number of men and women that I meet that have these beautiful drivers. They have all these settings on their hosel. They never change them. They never try other things. Oh, such a great question, Melinda, because yes, there's a tool that comes. I got it in my bag. There's a little tool. And again, you can watch YouTube videos. If no one's ever taught you this, I just was talking to someone who had a different driver than myself. So I didn't know how their hosel's set up. And we found it on YouTube, an entire explanation of how to set. So experiment. So for instance, if you're slicing it, so that's right for my righties, left for my lefties. If you're slicing it, there's an adjustment to your driver that you can make to help you hit it straight. At loft, you can usually add a different lofts. For my driver, I have a special hosel. Most drivers, you can add 2 degrees of loft. Mine, I actually have what's called a -2 hosel, which means I can actually bring my loft down by 2 because I want to go down, but that's a special hosel. But you usually can go up at least 2 degrees in your driver. So if you find you're not launching it high enough, this can be your friend. Oh my goodness, technology is such a difference. Absolutely. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced player, play around with your drivers. But first of all, figure out what your miss is. Do you typically have a miss that's to either a slice or a pull, and then try to adjust the driver that way? The tough one is if you have the military golf swing. What's a military golf swing? Left, right, left, right. So if you have that, little harder to adjust. And then just remember, if you're competing, once you change your driver, you have to leave it set like that for the rest of the round. And of course, you can change it afterwards. But if you're competing and keeping an official handicap, you can't change it in the middle of a round.
I'm glad you brought up Ernie Els, because if you are listening or watching and you have not watched Ernie Els Swing a Golf Club lately, I urge you to go to YouTube immediately and watch it, because it is a thing of beauty.
Effortless, right, Tori? Isn't it just, it's
Effortless.
the perfect team, it's the perfect golf swing. Louis Oosthuizen also has a swing like that too, but Ernie Els was the first person that I watched. It was effortless power. Effortless power.
Oh, sorry.
Ernie Els's nickname is called the Big Easy because he's like 6 foot. He's like I think maybe even 6'5". I mean, he's just a humongous guy, but he swings so easy, and that's his nickname.
Lisa, out of curiosity, I was at an indoor simulator this weekend, and we did the long drive competition, and it was fun. And so it put up the timer, and I thought it was 2 minutes, but maybe it was 2.5 minutes to hit 6 balls. And I thought, oh my God, this is so much time. I'll be able to do it. I didn't get through all 6. Have you ever had that in competition where you lost the time and you didn't hit all your balls?
You know what? For me, that's one thing that I've always been really good at, that I've practiced. But here's the problem. You make it to the World Long Drive Final. So in my regular class, you're going through the qualifying rounds. Yep, there's my 6 balls. I go through my pre-shot routine. Boom, boom, boom. But now add lights, add nighttime, add crowd cheering, music pumping. And it's really easy to get distracted. I actually have a dear friend. Her name is Phyllis Meddy. She's a multiple world champion, ranked top in the world right now as well, from New Zealand. She's unbelievable. And I was with her at the World Long Drive Championships when she, on her 6th and final ball, hit the longest ball of the entire competition. But the crowd noise and everything else had come into play. She was in the midst of her swing right before she hit her ball. And then the buzzer went beep. Then she hit her ball, and it was the longest of the competition. She would have won the world championships, and it didn't count. And it didn't.
Brutal.
Heartbreaking, right?
Lisa, remind everyone where they can find you. Where's the best place to get all your content? And
Absolutely.
Your camps.
Oh, yeah. So my LisaLongball.com is my website. Right there on my homepage, there's a link that you can click to get all of my, I did a ton of free instructional videos that I've had golfers around the world that have said that have helped them. That's also on YouTube under Lisa Longball. You go to playlists, golf instructional videos, and they're all free there, going from warm-up grip all the way to driver. And I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at Lisa Longball. And I'm thrilled. I'm so passionate about women's golf, as I know you are, Tori. And so I run golf clinics just for women all across North America, in Orlando, Phoenix, Palm Springs, and in Canada as well, too. And I try to teach all aspects of the game to help women love this game, find their best game, and hit it longer, straighter, better, and reduce their scores. So again, all that information is at LisaLongball.com.
They love your camps. They sell out in a half a second. So keep us posted. I know that you're nailing down your dates for the Arizona camps.
Yes.
So keep an eye on that, ladies. But in the meantime, we will see you in Dallas in October.
Dallas shootout, baby.
We are going to have so much fun. And then we're going to see you at both Desert Classics in March. So that's another opportunity.
I'm so excited that you're having 2 Desert Classics this year. So many women love it. So many women wanted to get in, and that they're going to have that experience now. Ladies, I have been. If you have not, you're going to love it. It's so fun. And it's about, yes, competitive spirit, but you're going to meet fabulous women, and I promise lifelong friends, and you're going to have the time of your life.
I mean, I feel like Lisa's met lifelong friends.
Right?
So funny. It is. So again, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for teaching us, for sharing your journey with us. I appreciate it. Justin, thanks for all those fantastic questions too. I love Justin has this enthusiasm that's one of a kind, and so do you. And to see you two going back and forth was a treat. Okay.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you to your viewers and all the little chats. And I saw wonderful comments from your class, and I really appreciate that.
Yes. Thanks, ladies. We will see you again next Wednesday. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you. Bye.